I think the new players will be a great fit, especially with Danny and Andrew.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to start the draft for our first match of the evening. This is the Korean DOTA2 League with Team Nemesis against MVP HOT6 and a best of one. My name is Whiplash, and I have my friend Remix broadcasting with me for some Korean Dota. So far, Ember Spirit against HOT6 as a band. We know the MVP organization as a whole is very good with this hero, and I believe they're also good at countering the hero as well.
Well, the thing is, they do play it a lot in scrims because right now it is a very powerful hero, especially if you can make your way to the mid game or the late game. He just snowballs way too hard. And I actually had a chance to talk to Wi-Fi before the game. We met up and went to PC for a little bit. So I have a good idea of what strategy they're going to use. I'm not going to say anything yet, but it's not going to be too cheesy. So we can expect a good, clean fight today.
I don't know about that. I even though you hung out with Wi-Fi from Nemesis or before the match today, and he says it's not too cheesy. Come on, man, it's Team Nemesis. They've literally only cheesed throughout the entire Korean Dota League. Like, that's all they've done.
I've got to say, though, looking at these pick bans so far, from HOT6's point of view, they took out the Nyx and the Clockwork, which really kind of helps Nemesis in a way because their strategy right now, they're getting all the picks that they want to pick. So This is going to be an interesting game.
Out comes the Invoker as well as the Ancient Apparition from Team Nemesis.
And right now, even though MVP HOT6 is expecting some kind of cheese, they don't know what kind of cheese it is. So their bans are pretty standard right now, with the going safe with the Nyx and the Clockwork. And we'll see how this pans out. But right now, Ancient Apparition pickup is really huge from Nemesis. That's definitely first pick, first ban material, and caught them off guard right here. And they actually managed to pick up the Invoker as well, which is really going to help a lot in the team fights, especially for initiation.
Yeah, Nemesis certainly picking up two heroes that are extremely powerful in the current meta. And there's a hero we haven't been seeing as recently. The Crystal Maiden is going to be the second pickup from HOT6. So combined with the Bat Rider, which on the Radiant end, I'm a huge fan of this hero in the off lane. You're going to get experience and farm basically no matter what.
Well, just be prepared when you see what...
Spill the beans, Remix. What is Nemesis going to do? Stop taunting me. I want to know what kind of cheese strategy they're going to do.
It's not really cheese. It's just a really good 1-2 punch combo they got going. So definitely for team fights, HOT6 is going to have a little bit of trouble finding their ground and getting their positioning right because they're going to use some kind of hero that does really well with Ancient Apparition.
That does well with Ancient Apparition.
I can give you one hint. Ancient Apparition's ult is basically, he throws a big ice ball and it makes a big circle affecting a large AoE, or AoE, which makes the other team unable to regenerate, and if they get below a certain HP threshold, they will die from the ultimate from that debuff. So
is it going to be the... What's the hero I'm looking for? I have a few in mind. I'm trying to think.
Imagine a carry.
Elder Titan?
No.
Oh.
Imagine something, some carry that makes a big ball and would keep the heroes in place so that Ancient Apparition's ult can hit them.
Oh, a puck. Wait.
A carry. A carry. Think of something...
Tuskar?
Something with a sphere or some kind of ball that has the same AoE as AA's ult.
AA's ult is quite variable.
Okay, I don't know.
Size.
I don't know how many more hints I can drop.
I give up.
Think of a guy with no face.
Okay. Faceless Void.
Do you catch my drift? So I think they're going to be looking for that Faceless Void pickup right here, which is actually a combination that's played regularly in ranked games.
Yeah, we have seen this before, I think, from some other teams. Not necessarily in the Korean scene, but outside of that as well. I know that there have been teams that have gone with the Faceless Void and Ancient Apparition, and Faceless Void as well has been used multiple times in the KDL, so it won't be like a huge surprise to see him picked up. But if you indeed are correct, Remix, I still would imagine that it'll be picked up as that last slot.
Well, at this point, it really doesn't even matter because taking a look at MVP HOT6's pick bans, they've banned out Nyx, the Clockwork, the Chen, and the Doom, which, in a sense, does not really help out against countering Nemesis's picks or their strategy. But in a sense, it does give you a little bit of an idea of what MVP HOT6 is planning. So Nemesis should really pick up on this hint and try to pick up their other 2 heroes that will be able to contend well with HOT6's planned lineup.
So Nemesis, they want to use the Void as well as the Ancient Apparition in conjunction with each other. HOT6, though, I suppose we don't know as much about their strategy for today's match.
Not too much, but looking at that Batrider pick, oh, there goes the Rasta pick by Nemesis. So it's going to be some half cheese and some other push strat going on, but it's not going to be a full push strat as we've been seeing lately from this team.
Team Nemesis, I love these guys. I used to hate them, but now I'm a believer.
I'm not so much a believer, but I mean, I do wish well for them. I am close friends with one of the players, Yumi, and also close friend with Wi-Fi. And I've known Kira and Genie for a long time playing Dota. But, I mean, I am rooting for my friend. I've known the guy for like 3 years. And Yumi actually just came out of the military recently, and now he's been starting up playing Dota again. And it's going to be an exciting game, I'll tell you that.
Well, with Team Nemesis, they're the definition of flash in a pan. They're gonna come at you strong and hard, but if you're able to kind of weather the storm, then they're going to fizzle out when it comes to the late game situation. But Nemesis, they're all about killing you in the early game before you can get your core heroes too farmed up. Using that advantage of having the mega creeps earlier on in the match. That is basically Team Nemesis's overall strategy throughout the entire KDL. And HOT6 with the Centaur pickup. Do you think this may mess with our lanes a little bit?
This is definitely going to be interesting because Centaur is definitely a formidable hero, especially with that ult, the Stampede. It's pretty ridiculous. Imagine this. Imagine this situation where Batrider will lasso an opponent, Centaur will use Stampede, and Batrider will be dragging that guy all the way to the wrong side of the map.
That's a combination that I can't say I've seen too much, and I'm unhappy I haven't seen too much. It seems like very powerful. So, Tralf, Mark, Sedia?
I believe that's pronounced Seidel, or
Seidel?
I don't know how to pronounce that, but
that is.
We'll just call him Marcus.
All right, my bad. I am like the first time it comes to names, I am notoriously bad at pronunciation. It's terrible for a man in my profession, but at least I only screw up once, and then I go out of my way to make sure I don't make the same mistakes as time goes on.
But it's interesting because with that Rasta pickup, that threw a little bit of confusion into MVP HOT6. Like, are they going for this push strat? What hero do we have to ban out for the last one? But it looks like Nemesis played it safe, and they just picked up the Faceless Void for the fourth pick, which leaves no room for error right there.
Indeed, but this is also allowed HOT6 to grab the Outworld Devourer, which is a hero that they have run a few times in the past. In the KDL specifically, so not a huge surprise to see HOT6 pick them up. It's a hero that I'm surprised we haven't seen more of in the scene. He falls in and out of favor, but he's like always still like the same strength.
He has always been one of the strongest mid heroes in the game. I guess it just gets a little bit boring to play him because all you're doing is banishing your opponent, farming, last hitting, banishing your opponent, farming, last hitting, and then you drop your ult every time you have it in a team fight. It's definitely a powerful hero and cannot be taken lightly, but in the current meta, if mid is ganked, he has a hard time getting back into the game. That's one of the problems with him.
We have a shot of Ja here, and his slogan is "Be the Water." I guess that's a good thing that. Okay, well that explains that. They picked up Kunkka. His slogan's "Be the Water." Is he going to play the Kunkka this game?
Oh, actually, that was picked up by Nemesis.
Oh, well, now I just feel silly.
It's all right. Well, I think he might actually be closer to the water, being hit by that torrent as well as the ghost ship.
You know, I got a little bit too excited with wanting to use a metaphor. So I was just like, oh, there's a Kunkka. I can use a water metaphor here, guys.
Just imagine this. They got the synergy going on here with this lineup. Oh, and they picked up the Dazzle, which is actually going to be pretty useful this game. It's going to save a couple heroes from that.
Yeah, I have to say that the Kunkka is going to be, you know, not that bad against the OD in the mid lane. So I am happy with Nemesis' last pick. And Dazzle has proven to be extremely solid as far as supports go in the current meta. So, ladies and gentlemen, with the heroes picked and banned, it's time to move into the first match of the day here at the Korean Dota 2 League. Nemesis versus HOT6, broadcasted by Whiplash and Remix.
You know, it's interesting because actually with their picks, their lines actually look pretty even at this point. So it's going to be a question of the team fights, and as soon as they hit their ults or level 6, you're going to definitely see some big wombo combo action going on here.
Wombo combo, that's what I'm hoping for.
Well, if you take a look at Nemesis' picks, they just have a lot of synergy going in with their skills and ultimates. But MVP HOT6, if they can just weather the storm a little bit, I feel like the late early game to the mid game, they'll be at their strongest. So we'll see who gets pressured first.
We're going to have to find out. MVP, of course, they're spawning at the Radiant side. And Nemesis is going to be taking over the dire end of things. And a few new players in HOT6 for those of you who are recently tuning in and aren't really aware of players picked. Now, what's up with that ward placement? That's not something that's seen too often.
Well, the thing with that is it's not a common ward placement, so it's less likely to get dewarded. But with all the trees being cut down, it's kind of a red flag. It tells you, hey, we cut down all these trees for no reason at all. It's, I mean, they've got to pick up on that and deward that before those trees respawn.
Well, looking at the lanes from Nemesis, it looks like they got some weird things going on. Off-lane solo Invoker. Well, there's a tri-lane top. I like the tri-lane. I think it's good. What about this Invoker in the off-lane, though? That seems a little bit odd to me.
Well, Invoker off-lane is, it's not that bad, especially if you go with the Quax Wex build. So he's not going to have too much trouble. He might have some trouble with last hits, but Yuumi is definitely a good offline player. So he's going to play it safe and just try to get that experience. And also, we have a Crystal Maiden who's going to be primarily jungling and probably stacking the camps. So it's going to be an Invoker versus a dual lane at the most part.
So he'll at least, at the very minimum, be able to pick up a good amount of experience instead of just being completely zoned out.
Yeah, and the problem is Dazzle can't really harass him too much because he does have that Quax leveled up. So he has some heavy regen, which early on is pretty hard to lane him out or phase him out of the lane.
Yeah, the most effective he's going to be is in these first few levels, where his right clicks do the most and Invoker has the least amount of regeneration. What do you think about this middle lane here? We have Danny and YPie kind of, you know, facing each other in the mid. Generally, the Outworld Devourer is one of these heroes that almost always is going to win any mid lane matchup. But how does the Kunkka specifically do against the OD in this situation?
Well, here's the thing. Kunkka is not heavily mana reliant, and most of his harass damage will come from the Tidebringer skills. So it's actually goes toe-to-toe with the Obsidian Destroyer, so it's not too much to be worried about. The one dangerous thing is you got to watch out for these ganks. You see right now they got smoked up here. Oh, they got discovered.
Of ganks, yeah, the smoke's discovered. Andrew's going to be able to just kind of fly away and be completely okay. Tio is still hidden in the smoke, but you know the gig is up. MVP knows what's happening, and that's going to be a lot of time wasted on Nemesis's end.
Yeah, that's definitely a smart play by Andrew. He knows that supports are missing, so he's going to go spot him out for them at mid just to avoid any kind of unnecessary confrontation early on, as OD is pretty fragile.
Yeah, but this Faceless Void is going to be getting a lot of great farm. Torrent just missing the mark on Danny. I don't think it would have really made a big difference either way. And Invoker, it seems like he was sent all the way home or something.
He's actually, I don't know, he's actually trying to block the creeps and bring it closer because they're doing the stack pull there at the bottom.
Yep. Also, I want to point out, Remix, that this Invoker is level 1 still. He has not been getting any farm compared to the Centaur, which is level 3. Even Dazzle is almost halfway to level 2. This Invoker offlane is not working. Nemesis may completely dominate the top, but Batrider can go in the jungle. And this Invoker, I mean, are we going to see an Invoker in the jungle?
No, that's never going to happen unless it's new meta that we see.
Ice wall, creep. Creep blocking or kiting. I can see it happen, man.
Yeah, but he has nowhere else to go. He does need the solo levels. One problem is, with the Crystal Maiden in the jungle, most of the time, you never know where he's going to pop up. Is he going to pop up and gank the Invoker? Is he going to come up mid and try to pick off that Kunkka?
Well, Invoker has at least managed to grab his level 2, but Numi has been spotted. 3 of MVP. His heroes are charging at him. There's the first blood. Grabbed by the Centaur. We even have the Shadow Shaman coming in to try to do a bit of damage, but it's too little too late. There's not enough that the support from Nemesis can do in this situation. Well, hold on. Maybe Nemesis will make me eat my words. And nope. I'm not eating my words right now.
Too little, too late. And with the positioning of that gank, that was actually between the Tier 1 and the Tier 2 tower. So even with the rotation of one support hero, they're not going to get anybody an equal trade for that.
One thing I do want to point out, the Centaur is he went ahead and instead of rushing for his Blink Dagger, he just decided to go for some Power Treads, which is interesting because most of the Centaurs I have seen in recent competitive play, they go Naked Boots and then right into the Blink Dagger.
Yeah, that's true. You do get it much faster around the 12-minute mark. I've even seen people favor the Tranquil Boots on Centaur, which is not a bad item because you get that passive regeneration and you can just throw down a double ledge to harass the enemy. And there you go, back to full HP.
Andrew's going to be sheeped and then shackled up a little bit. Actually, this may be a bit of a mistake. He is getting very aggressive, but nope, 3 stacks of that oil. It's going to wear off, though, so.
Kira will definitely not be trying that again.
Yeah. Numi. Well, at least he has enough levels to go ahead and use that Ghost Walk.
Level 3, all you need.
Yeah. So this is going to be nice. He can kind of play this lane like a bounty hunter almost.
Pretty much. He's just going to be leeching up that experience and waiting for the lane to come to his tower. And also, one thing about this offlane Invoker is just like a bounty hunter, the team's supports are going to have to spend money to buy detection.
And look at that, 6 minutes on the dot. There's a Hand of Midas picked up for the Faceless Void. So, even though Nemesis is having a pretty hard time in the bottom lane, they're doing pretty good elsewhere on the map. I guess Kunkka is 19 last hits to the 31 of the OD, so not necessarily winning the middle lane, but at least they are doing good at the top.
That's true. So, I mean, Centaur does have the most last hits in the game, but he's not too heavily item dependent. All he needs is his dagger and his level 6 ults to be really effective. But you have a hero like Faceless Void. He's actually getting pretty close to free farm, so he's definitely something that's going to be playing a factor, especially in the mid game.
And he has just managed to grab that level 6, which means, of course, his Chronosphere ultimate. So I want to see Nemesis start to do some of these team fights, especially with that combination that you were mentioning a little bit earlier in the draft remix with the Ancient Apparition Ice Blast combined with that Chronosphere ultimate. That's what I want to see. And looking on the other end, Andrew is getting pretty close to his Blink Dagger. He's up to about 1750 as far as gold is concerned. So I guess he'll have his Blink Dagger in the next few minutes. And as we look in the mid lane, we're seeing
he gets blown up.
The hammer drops from Danny, securing the kill.
There's that banhammer. Get out of mid.
So this is a post-draft hero ban, and it happened on the Kunkka.
Pretty much. That haste rune isn't going to save him there. He's in the AoE of that ult. He's disappearing.
It actually looked like I thought it was the Centaur's ult for a second, but that can't happen.
Well, because Centaur's on the other team.
Yeah, exactly. Now Numi could be in a bit of trouble. He's instantly using that Ghost Walk, but spotted. And
that was a waste of dust.
Yeah.
I believe his Poison Touch is only at level 1, so it's not going to have that slowing effect as it would at higher levels. So unless Centaur does get that Blink Dagger, they're not going to pick him off that easily anymore.
Yeah, that was actually a little weird from HOT6. I feel like that could have definitely been coordinated a little better on their end, but as I say that, the Blink Daggers are picked up for both heroes.
There
it comes down. This time it's enough. And we're going to see Ja with the Shadow Wave get a little bit of healing and damage done to secure the kill on the Invoker. So this is already leading HOT6 into a 3-0 advantage over their opponents. But Nemesis do look to be slowly chiseling away at the top tower.
So they really need to take this top tower down because they are losing in terms of team gold. And also, their lanes are not doing too well right now, except for the Faceless Void. And one thing here is right now, Centaur and Batrider have both picked up their Blink Daggers, so you're definitely going to see some gank action going on.
There's just a little bit of damage. Genie, are we going to see the ultimate from him? No, we are not.
Save it.
Out comes Stampede as well. They're going to go get 2 kills.
They're going for 3 here. Oh.
Can they get the Ancient Apparition?
They're playing it safe. They decided 2 is enough. Hey, we got the carry. We got one of the supports. We're happy.
That's unfortunate for the Faceless Void. Besides his boots and naked boots and the Hand of Midas, he hasn't gotten too much farm throughout the match compared to the Centaur, which has gotten some power treads and the Blink Dagger. So this is looking pretty good for HOT6 as they take a 5-0 lead and showing no signs of letting up in any of the lanes.
Well, HOT6 definitely does have the momentum. They got some key items on their cores out, and they made the right moves. They went straight for the Hand of Midas, Faceless Void, and having that Hand of Midas is a good thing, but at the same time, it can hurt you early on because you don't have as much fighting power or that durability that you get from some other items.
Ja just picked up power treads on a Dazzle. Can you explain to me why?
I'm actually not quite sure about that. I think it's because they have the Crystal Maiden and they're just going to rely mostly on that aura because they're probably not going to be using that Shadow Wave to heal a lot. They're just going to be using him for his ultimate as well as that, I believe it's called the Grave, the Shallow Grave. Yes.
Yeah.
So with Crystal Maiden on the team, I mean, Arcane Boots can be a little bit optional. I'd feel a little bit safer if one of the supports did get it.
You know what? I just realized they also have the Outworld Devourer, and his aura plus the Crystal Maiden aura means none of these heroes are ever going to run out of mana when it comes to the team fight. So although it does look a little bit odd at first, also nice deny as well. I think that was a deny.
Oh. Nope. Kunkka gets mixed up. He's going to get trapped here.
Oh, no. Man. It almost looked like he got trapped, but he throws out the Ghost Bolt. Genie's moving and gets a 2-man Chronosphere. And there's a little bit of more damage zapping around. Danny tries the Usanity's Eclipse. Is it going to be enough? He actually gets 2 members down. People are dying everywhere for Nemesis, despite a pretty darn solid initiation. Sunbee, though, gets the last hit there with his first ability. And, man, a 9... That was a 4-for-1 trade, Remix. This is just terrible for Nemesis.
It was just a bad situation because you had that Kunkka get initiated on by the Batrider, and also you have that Dazzle coming in. His ult really does play a big factor in team fights.
Yeah, it definitely does. And You know, especially if the team fights last like more than 5 to 10 seconds, that armor really starts stacking up.
Especially early on against, for the supports at least. You got to get out of there. If that ult drops on you, you got to get out. But with the Faceless Void, he had to drop his ult. He knew he was going to die. He might as well try to get one kill off of it before he dies. So I think it was the right play, dropping the Chronosphere, because it was a purely defensive Chronosphere, but he did manage to get one kill before he died.
Yeah, it looked like he was about to get 2, but it wasn't the case. So, Remix, what does Nemesis have to do to get back in this game? Like, how are they going to rat their way out of this situation?
It's definitely going to be hard, because right now you have 2 Blink Daggers on the other team.
Well,
you cannot be in the line at all. So
actually,
Boca right here saving the day, so that's going to be pretty big. And also, when AA hits level 6, I don't know what his level is right now, but once he hits level 6, it's going to deter them a little bit from those dives, those early dives that they can get away with right now, just because they have the Bat Rider and the Centaur.
The initiation is strongest for HOT6 at this point, and down to pretty low health. I think Centaur's going to have to do a bit of healing in the Radiant Well. And looks like Genie, he has his Chronosphere available. He's just chilling behind the Tier 1 tower, waiting for the right time to try to catch somebody, and it doesn't look like there's a level 6 just quite yet on the Ancient Apparition. He didn't have his ultimate skilled up.
It doesn't matter. Right now, they've got to make something happen. They've got to make a play, because none of them are safe in the lanes by themselves, because out of nowhere, here comes the Bat. So right now, they're going to try to make something happen with that Kunkka and the Faceless Void ults.
Well, Nemesis have decided to stick to their strengths, which seems to be 5-man fights as far as all history is concerned for the team. But they're already pretty far behind. So I don't know. It's not looking amazing for Nemesis Remix. If they move in here and there's a lasso or a Centaur that comes in, like, what is Nemesis going to be able to do against that?
Well, they're going to have to start playing really passive, but they've got to make something happen. They can't just let MVP HOT6 get away with these free picks.
And a nice blink into last hit from the War Runner. He's able to get the Tier 1 tower in the bottom lane. Now, if we look at Danny, interestingly enough, he has picked up a Blink Dagger, an item that I gotta say, Remix, doesn't seem to be too common on the OD. Generally, they like to get the Force Staff because it gives them a little bit of more intellect. So, what's your thoughts on Blink Daggers galore for both teams?
Well, Blink Dagger does have a longer range, and you can just pop up out of nowhere, as opposed to having a Force Staff where you can see the character on your screen and then he'll Force Staff his way closer. That Blink Dagger, especially with this much of a lead, it kind of does give you that, I don't know, I guess they're pretty confident that he's not going to die, and he's going to be able to use that blink effectively. So you have a smoke here on the side of Nemesis. They're going to try to go into the enemy jungle and try to get a pick or 2 off. Hopefully they find the Crystal Maiden first.
We'll have to see. They are moving near that Tier 1 tower, which gives a little bit of a home field advantage to MVP, but in comes the Chronosphere as well as a Ghost Ship follow-up. MVP are going to lose 2 members. Sunbeam, though, trying to use that freezing field, instantly gets disabled up. Danny as well joining the fight. There's also a lasso, and with a buyback from the Centaur, that was a complete turnaround, 4-for-1, despite an amazing Chronosphere and initiation from Nemesis. After that, I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, but I cannot see HOT6 losing the game after that.
To be honest, they look pretty good right now. It's going to be very tough for Nemesis to get back in this game, especially without using one of their cheesy strats. But as you just saw, the Faceless Void, Kunkka, and the Ancient Apparition combo, it's something that can just melt heroes, especially even heroes like Centaur Warrior, who is pretty tanky. And so you have some great situational awareness coming from the Centaur, who bought back immediately and came back and got his revenge twofold.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I feel like we've covered a lot of the bases here. Nemesis are in a pretty poor position. HOT6 are showing no signs of letting down, and this roster change seems to be working out quite well for them. We are seeing a good amount of teamwork. I believe there was a little bit of missteps earlier on in the match, but nothing too major. And just as I say that, we have two of the Blink Dagger heroes come in. There is the stomp. We're going to see a double edge. A few more right clicks and spells to confirm the death for that cold and poor warriors. So, Nemesis, they're not catching a break.
Well, MVP, HOT6, they're actually, showing off their muscles here as they're just diving in, picking off any hero they can see on the map. Pretty much making Nemesis not be able to get any positioning, any farm, or any levels this early on. And this is a big problem because you see the OD, he is farmed. He might even be picking up his Ginsus pretty soon with a couple more pickoffs like that.
You know what, Remix? The recent change to the Blink Dagger to remove the mana cost on it, I think that this has actually changed the metagame a lot, and we're really starting to see this over the past month or so.
It is a huge buff to the item, and I believe the cooldown time on it was buffed as well. It got shorter, but now with the no mana cost, it's actually an item that's picked up a lot, especially in pubs, by heroes that would not normally use them.
We do have most of Nemesis smoked up. The Batrider Illusion did manage the trick, one of their members, but the rest of them are staying stalwart for the time being. Still only a single tower taken for Nemesis compared to MVP opposition. Out comes the Tornado. They're throwing down the Serpent Wards as well, but Genie, he's dragged up. Are we going to see that Void ultimate? No. He's just going to back up for the time being, turns around, uses the ultimate, throwing out an AA ult as well, trying to hit the Centaur War Runner, but he is just so beefy and doesn't seem to really care too much. More forward blinks from MVP, a few right clicks. Danny is looking big, and that's 2 deaths for Nemesis.
So there you go, perfect use of that Blink Dagger.
We are starting to see MVP outclass the opposition at this point.
That's true, because even with those powerful ults, you see that Centaur Warrior, he just got hit ult after ult. He got hit by the AA ult. He didn't even turn around for a second. He's just like, we're going to kill these guys, and we're going to kill them fast, hard, and early.
Is his name in Korean directly translated to like Centaur Warrior?
Let me take a look at that. I actually do not play with the Korean client because I think the voiceovers are a little too cheesy.
Well, you can understand them, so I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, but I'll take a look at it the next time.
Okay. Well,
I don't know if there's actually a word for Centaur in Korean, so he might be...
I was checking out the text for a little bit, and it looked like some Koreanized, like a Korean version of the Romanization of that name. So we'll have to see. Well, a little bit more action. I don't know how, but Ancient Apparition is... that was his little ice castle like in Frozen. It was on top of a mountain, but he got blown up. And there's another hammer to drop, killing off the Kunkka, but Genie's looking to get a little bit of revenge. Danny, he doesn't have a Force Staff, and he keeps... Oh,
There's
my!
that last hit bash. If that bash didn't proc, he might have been able to survive.
The bash kept him alive for certain, as Centaur is going to be drained of all of his mana for the time being, but still a tanky presence. I believe the Tier 2 tower did fall in the top lane for Nemesis. So they are just starting to lose a lot of map control to the opposition, and Batrider's also picked up his Force Staff. Basically, HOT6, they have so much initiation power on their team and mobility, it's ridiculous.
It's true. Right now, MVP HOT6 has 5 towers down as opposed to 1 tower for Nemesis. And one thing to consider here is once they do start turtling, they're actually, with their lineup, they can turtle pretty well. They might not be able to hold off that long, but they might be able to get a couple of kills to maybe get them back in the game. Especially with all those sprees on the other team, they might get some extra gold picking off one of the bigger heroes. So we'll definitely see some turtling going on here. No more smokes.
They did get about 800 gold, I think, from picking up the OD. So that was at least a nice little grab for the Faceless Void, which can be a very powerful carry in the late game. And MVP could be in a bit of trouble. The smoke's going to be revealed, but they're going to see some low health heroes. Out comes the Weave. It only hits 2 of the heroes. There's going to be a follow-up Shadow Grave, but JSH, he's not making it out of this one alive despite the Force Staff. It was close, but no cigar. Danny blinking away as well, knowing the trouble he is in. A smoke for killing off the Dazzle, I would say it's worth it, certainly.
Well, they've got to take anything they can get right now. Would have been nice if they did pick up that Centaur as well, but you saw him. He just left the scene. He left the scene of the crime. He didn't even wait around to see who was coming. He's just like, I'm surviving. See you later, Dazzle.
He was of no use anyway. There's going to be a drag on Numi, avoiding the Faceless Void ultimate smartly as well, and the Ancient Apparition ult not connecting with anything. YPi getting sliced to bits by the Centaur. Genie, he's up next as following up the sheep. There's the GG. Nemesis know that there is no coming back from a 6-23 deficit. And the blood has been shed. MVP getting a little bit of experience for their newer players, but they looked pretty darn solid and confident there. And, Easy Rare's Easy Life remix.
Yeah, Easy Rare's Easy Life. This was pretty much a stomp, and MVP HOT6 didn't even have to pull any tricks out of the bag. They just got their blink daggers, got the easy pickoffs, and really took control of the tempo of the game. Didn't even give